My husband was arrested for murder. I hired a detective to prove he was innocent, but the secret she uncovered destroyed 2 families instead. The police arrested my husband on a Tuesday morning. By Wednesday, the entire town had already decided he was guilty. His boss fired him. Our neighbors crossed the street to avoid me. Parents stopped letting their children play with our daughter. The victim was his business partner, Mark. They'd argued publicly just 2 days before Mark disappeared. Then Mark's body was found in an abandoned warehouse. My husband's fingerprints were everywhere. The police said the case was open and shut. I refused to believe them. Not because he was my husband, because I knew him. So I hired a private detective named Evelyn. She had been a homicide detective for 25 years before retiring. When she arrived at my house, she said something I'll never forget. "I don't work to prove people innocent. I work to find the truth." That sentence made me nervous, because what if the truth wasn't what I wanted? Evelyn started with the police file. Then she asked for something the police never requested. Our family photo albums. I didn't understand why. She quietly explained, sometimes the answer isn't in the crime. It's years before it. For 2 weeks, she barely mentioned the murder. Instead, she interviewed relatives, old neighbors, former employees, even my late mother-in-law's best friend. None of it seemed connected. Then one evening, she knocked on my door. "I need you to come with me." She drove me to a small town 3 hours away. We stopped outside an old church. On the wall hung photographs of children born in the local hospital during the 1980s. Evelyn pointed to one. It was my husband. Then she pointed to another. Mark, the murdered business partner. They were born on the same day, same hospital, only 12 minutes apart. Then came the first twist. A retired nurse from that hospital agreed to speak with us. She admitted that, decades earlier, 2 newborn babies had accidentally been switched. The hospital quietly discovered the mistake. Instead of telling the families, the administration covered it up to avoid lawsuits. My husband and Mark had grown up in the wrong families. They had unknowingly become business partners years later. Without realizing, they were biological brothers. I was speechless. But Evelyn wasn't finished. She looked at me and said, "Now we know what they were arguing about." Apparently, Mark had secretly discovered the hospital records 6 months earlier. He wanted to tell both families. My husband refused. Not because he didn't care, because his adoptive father was dying from cancer. He believed revealing the truth would destroy him during his final months. Their argument wasn't about money. It was about timing. Then came the second twist. Mark wasn't murdered where the police found him. The warehouse was only where the body had been dumped. Evelyn proved this by comparing soil trapped inside Mark's shoes with the warehouse floor. They didn't match. The police had never checked. Following the soil sample led us to an abandoned farmhouse. Inside, police discovered fresh blood hidden beneath new floorboards, along with security camera footage from a neighboring property. The footage showed someone completely unexpected. The hospital's former administrator, now 81 years old. He had spent decades hiding evidence of the baby switch. When Mark threatened legal action, the administrator panicked. He confronted Mark. The argument became violent. Mark died after hitting his head on a stone fireplace. Terrified, the old man staged the murder to frame my husband, not because he hated him, because my husband had publicly argued with Mark days earlier. It was the easiest story to believe. 2 weeks later, every charge against my husband was dropped. The old administrator confessed. He said he'd lived with guilt for 40 years. Then came the biggest twist. Neither family wanted to change anything. My husband didn't stop calling his parents mom and dad. Neither did Mark's family. Biology explained where they came from. Love explained who had raised them. Months later, both families gathered together for the first time. Not because they had to, because they chose to. Mark's mother hugged my husband and whispered, "I lost one son. I don't want to lose another." That day, nobody gained a new family. They simply realized they'd had one all along. People still ask if hiring Evelyn was worth it. The answer is yes. Not because she solved a murder, because she proved something even more important. The truth doesn't always heal. Sometimes it hurts first. But lies never stop hurting. What would you have done if discovering the truth about a murder also revealed your spouse had been switched at birth? Would you have wanted to know the truth, or left the past buried forever? Comment below what you think.